Welcome to Age Well Athens County. I'm Allison Fox. Let's explore the people, programs, and ideas that help us all age well.
Good morning. I'm Allison. I'm with Age Well Athens County and United Seniors of Athens County here in Athens, Ohio.
I hope it's Ohio.
It is Ohio.
Good morning. I'm Tom Williams.
Good morning.
And we're recording this, so if you're looking at this in December, we just got back from vacation, so here we are.
Exactly. And we do this in the morning, so it's morning for us.
Yeah, true.
Hence the coffee.
Oh, boy. Yeah, right here.
Exactly.
So, good morning.
Good morning. Today we're going to talk about senior dating, red flags, green flags, and staying safe.
It scares me.
It scares you. Well, and I did a show while you were on vacation about it's never too late for love. And I'm going to, full disclosure, I've been married 36 years. So I've been out of the dating scene.
27 years, so yeah.
So we had to compile a lot of this information off of the internet and from personal stories from friends and family members. So,
right. So today, we're taking that conversation one step further by discussing how to date safely.
Right.
Recognize healthy relationships and avoid some common pitfalls.
Exactly.
Particularly if you haven't been in the dating pool for a long time.
Exactly. To be honest, I told Vic, that's my husband, for those of you that don't know, and I told him if anything ever happens to him, I'm just not dating. I'm just not. This sounds like a lot of work to me. But,
amen.
But, you know, there are a lot of people that think very differently, and I don't want anyone to be lonely. I don't want anyone to be disconnected or feel like they don't have an opportunity.
Absolutely
so that's why we're talking about this,
Yes.
because there's no reason to live your life in solitude if that's not what you wish.
Right. So whether you're newly single, recently widowed, divorced, or simply curious about dating again, this episode is for you.
Exactly. So I thought we'd start with the good things first, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about some green flags. Before we get into the yucky stuff, let's talk about the green flags. So healthy relationships have common characteristics, and these are some that, I compiled off of tons of Googling.
All right. Now,
So a green flag is somebody that respects your opinions and your independence.
oh, absolutely.
So important because you're your own person.
Yeah, I have to be. I mean, don't be a milquetoast.
Right.
Speak up.
Exactly.
If you got to find someone who's patient, doesn't pressure you to move faster than you're comfortable.
Right. Patience really is important. And you can judge that sometimes by how people are with others in your presence, like the waiter or waiting in line, at the BMV or something like that. You can really see where someone's patience level is, not just with you, but with the world in general.
That's a whole show.
It is. Someone who is honest about their life, their family, and their background. That is super important. I know that a lot of people don't want to share a lot of things, and I get that. But we all have a life, and we have experiences. And part of what makes us connect to other people is sharing those.
Yep. This is a red flag, green flag.
It is.
All right.
It is.
Encourages you to spend time with your friends and loved ones.
Yes.
You have a life. Don't pull it in.
Yeah, exactly. What about listening more than you talk?
That's sometimes hard.
It is.
Because particularly when you first start dating, you want to let the person know who you are. And if you're listening more than talking, they're going to sit there and go, what's wrong with this person?
There's a balance to be had. But if they are doing nothing but talking, that can be something that, you may want to work on.
Look at me, look at me.
You want someone who's interested in hearing what you have to say.
Yep. Here's an important one. Makes you laugh and brings out the best in you.
Absolutely.
They always say laughter is the best medicine. And sometimes when you're healing from a broken relationship and you're trying to get in the dating pool, you find someone who makes you laugh.
Yes.
That's a good sign.
Because it can make you feel good about yourself.
Absolutely.
And that's the whole point. Communicating consistently instead of disappearing for days.
Even if it's a text.
Absolutely.
Hey, how are you?
Absolutely.
What's your day
Thinking of
like?
you.
Yeah.
Just a little thinking of you can mean the difference between ghosting and not.
Yep. And also respecting your boundaries.
That is so important. We all have them. We all have limitations. And someone that genuinely cares for you is going to respect those limitations and boundaries that you have set.
Yeah, healthy relationships should make you feel valued, comfortable, and safe, not anxious or confused.
Right.
You know.
Exactly. Now we're going to talk about warning signs. Here's the red flags,
Da,
folks.
da, da.
And I know that this is an uncomfortable thing to talk about, but the reason that it is so important is because if you are truly lonely and you're out there seeking someone, you might forget to look for these signs. So if we bring them to the forefront and you kind of pay attention, we're hoping that you don't get scammed or abused or hurt in any way.
Here's the first one. This is very important. Be cautious if someone wants to move the relationship very quickly.
Yeah.
You know, that should just bring up the red flag. It's like, okay, what do you want?
Yes. And that can look different for everybody. I mean, maybe for one person, 6 months is fast. Maybe for another person, you're talking about that person that says after 4 weeks, I want to marry you and move in with you.
Yeah.
Okay. So that looks different to everybody, but you definitely should evaluate that. And what about starting to talk about love after only a couple of conversations?
That's not love. That's infatuation.
It is. It is.
That's
I had an argument with a professor at when I was in college about love being just a chemical reaction. He was like, you either love someone or you don't. And I said, I disagree with you because the true love that I feel for my husband, it took years to develop to where it is today. It took all that time and it went beyond the chemical. It went to the, guess what? We're choosing to love each other even when we're being unlovable, right? So if you're talking to somebody who after just the first conversation, or maybe you've only dated them for a week and they're saying, gosh, I really love you. I can't imagine my life without you. Just take pause.
Yeah.
Take pause.
Yeah. Particularly if that person tries to isolate you from family or friends.
Yeah, that is
That
not
is
good.
an absolute red flag.
Someone that loves you is going to make sure that the relationships that you had before them that are important to you remain connected. They're not going to try to isolate you. They're not going to try to keep you just for themselves. This is really, it happens a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. What about somebody that refuses to answer simple questions about themselves?
What are they hiding?
Yeah, right. That's what I would be thinking.
What are they hiding? Why is the wall going up? If they're trying to start a loving relationship with you, what are they hiding?
Exactly.
You know, is he a mass murderer? You know,
that's where I would go because I watch too many murder shows. So I would be like, you're not going to pull the wool over my eyes, buddy.
Is the IRS after him?
Right.
Right. And they're going to go, by the way, I need $20,000.
Exactly.
How about has a story that constantly changes?
Yeah, we need to watch that.
Yeah.
I actually, before my husband, I dated a guy who, you know, would tell me these stories and then he'd forget what he told me.
Oops.
And he'd turn around and tell me something with maybe one change. It was the same story, but maybe had one change. And I would call him out on it because I'm just one of those people. I would say, you know, you didn't tell me that before when you told me this story. And he said, well, I just didn't think it was important then. Yeah. And I found that to be weird. You know, the story itself is not going to change if it's true.
Right.
So, you know, I don't know. I thought that was strange. What about pressuring you to keep that relationship secret?
Red flag, red flag,
right?
red flag. Why?
You must be married, pal.
It's called why?
Yeah. I don't do secrets. So, yeah, that would be the very first thing I would tell anyone. No secrets allowed.
Here's another one that gets angry when you set boundaries.
Yeah.
I mean, no.
Yeah.
Well, you set a boundary to keep yourself protected.
Right.
Yeah, and then someone sits there and goes, well, don't you trust me? Well, the answer to that is no.
Obviously not. Obviously not. But here's the bottom line, too, is that we learn from past relationships what we will and will not tolerate in current relationships. And that should be honored. It should be honored.
Yep.
We all have a past, and how you cope with the future depends on how you're going to navigate this new relationship. And if you had a bad past with someone, you're going to have different boundaries than someone who didn't.
Yeah, you're gonna be a little gun shy.
Absolutely.
You're gonna be gun shy, and the best thing to do is, if you have boundaries that you don't want crossed, you should at the beginning of the relationship make that known.
Oh, absolutely. My husband and I, when we were new, we sat down and we had, because I was divorced, he was divorced. So we definitely had baggage. And we sat down and made lists of the things that our expectations, basically, an expectation list. This is my expectation for how I need you to treat me and why. And after doing that, that made a huge difference in how we could communicate because we understood each other better.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
What about somebody who wants access to your bank account, your passwords, or your financial information? That's a gigantic no.
Yeah, there comes the question again. Why?
Yeah. No.
Why,
What are you
why?
living on, pal? You know? You don't need my stuff. You were managing to live before you met me. You don't need my stuff.
Or were you?
Yeah.
Or were you?
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
a case. I'm not saying that you need to, hire an accountant, to say, okay, now we're going to open the books and see what you've been doing here.
Right.
But I mean, if you're paying alimony, if you're paying child support, be open about it.
Exactly.
If you have a bankruptcy in your past, let it be known, and how you're coping with that.
We all have an element of shame and privacy when it comes to finances. And so I think that, it's a given if somebody is all of a sudden saying, I need your help, my car is broken, or I need, you to pay my rent. For me, that would be a red flag. Because if I don't know you for a long, long time, I think that's a huge ask.
Yeah. And going along with that, if the person asks you for money, gift cards, here's a big red flag: wire transfers or help paying bills. It's called, okay, what have you been living on the past 6 months?
Yes.
Who else have you scammed?
Right? Exactly. And the gift card thing, that is a very common romance scam. So if you've met somebody maybe online and you haven't met them face to face, it is very common that they will take the time, they will woo you, and they will get you happy to see their screen name and looking forward to conversations. Then all of a sudden you're going to get I want to come and see you. I really want to meet you, but I don't have any money to come and see you. And if they've done their job correctly, they've made sure that you really want them to come. And so you're more likely to give them money. Huge red flag. Huge, huge, huge. Don't do it.
Well, particularly big red flag, particularly if you're doing an online dating
That you've never met face to face.
You've never met the person, and you're in Southeast Ohio and they're in Timbuktu, and it's like, oh, geez, I really want to come see you, but I need $10,000.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're going to talk more about that here in a second.
Yeah.
Because there's also claims, I had a friend who was playing a game called Words with Friends. And she would play, her husband had recently passed and she was lonely, and she would play this game. And she met somebody who consistently would play with her. And they started becoming friendly. They were talking about more personal things. And he actually told her that he was from overseas, that he was working on an oil rig. He was unable to have regular relationships. This is the only way he could have them because he was stuck in the middle of an ocean. And he would send her photos. And my son, who's very tech savvy, took these photos and did a reverse search on the internet for these photos. They were very common photos from an oil company.
Right, Photoshop,
yeah,
sure.
it was not, yeah. You'll also have people that talk about being in the military and that they can't come and see you because they're in the military. And that's another red flag. I'm not saying there aren't legit oil rig workers and military members that are going to go online and ask for relationships. But if they do that, if they tell you that's what they are and they're doing that in conjunction of, I need financial help, big red flag.
Keep one thing in mind. If they're working at an oil rig,
they're making bank.
They're not poor.
No, they're making bank. And if you don't know that, you give United Seniors a call. We'll let you know.
Now, those last few examples are classic signs of a romance scam.
Yes.
Now, of course, romance scams are real.
They really are.
And sometimes
they can be
work
dangerous.
Out. Sometimes they work out. We have someone that we know who started communicating with someone in South Carolina. They met them. They did marry them.
That's great.
And they had a good marriage.
That's great.
I've also heard some others where,
Yeah.
but unfortunately, older adults are frequently targeted by scammers because they know many people are looking for that companionship.
Right. Right. This is their job. Okay. The people that do this, that they're professionals at this. So they're willing to spend the time, months, getting to know you and earning your trust before they drop that whammy on you.
Yeah.
And that it's something that we just wanted to bring to the forefront. They can create convincing stories about emergencies and travel problems. Oh, the medical bill stories, right?
Yeah.
Or investment opportunities. Maybe they know that you're struggling financially and they're like, oh, I've got this opportunity and we're both going to make millions.
It's a sure thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And a lot of people have lost their homes and everything else due to these kinds of scams. So there's one simple rule to remember. If someone you've met online asks you for money for any reason, it's almost certainly a scam.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a guarantee? No. But I would bank that they're scamming you.
Mm-hmm. Never send cash.
No.
Gift cards. No. Here's a big red flag. Oh, I got this sure thing, but I need $1 million in crypto.
Yeah, no. Don't
First
fall
of
for
all,
that.
Do you understand cryptocurrency? I sure as heck don't.
I barely do. What little I understand about it, I learned from the Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
So.
And of course, do not send banking information to someone you haven't met and verified.
Right.
I mean, that's the way you can
keep your personal stuff personal.
Right. You can just watch that bank account go.
Oh, and we don't want anyone to go through that.
No.
Nobody.
No.
That is something that would be so emotionally and mentally devastating. And then it'll affect you physically because you can lose your home, you can lose your car, you can lose, everything.
Yeah.
In one fell swoop.
And then it's mental and it's physical and it's just like the old woe is me syndrome.
Yeah.
But it's terrible.
Yeah.
So just remember, stay safe while dating.
Right.
If you're meeting someone new, meet in a public place.
I think that's super important. That's an old school thing too, because back when I was dating as a teenager and then in my early 20s, that's what we did. If I didn't know you, let's say that I'll just use a real story. So I met this guy at the mall and we just had a chat because I was working there. And he wanted to go out. And I'm like, okay, we'll meet back here and have dinner at this place here in the mall. It was a neutral place. I knew people that worked there. I knew that there were people that I could contact if he was not a safe person. Mm-hmm. This was before cell phones. Now you've got cell phones, which is even better because you have automatic ways to contact others. So make sure that you're meeting where there's cell phone service.
Yeah. And Lord knows, here in Southeast Ohio, there are plenty of public places between coffee shops and restaurants and...
Absolutely. Absolutely. Even if you could meet, like they've got the Parade of the Hills going on right now. Right. So you could meet at the Parade of the Hills and have some fair food and walk around. But you're in a public place. You are taking yourself there and taking yourself home.
Right.
It's kind of important. And what about making sure that friends and family know what you're doing?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Tell somebody. Make sure someone else knows, I'm going to go and meet this guy. Tell your best friend. Tell your daughter, your son. I don't know. I'm going to go meet this person. I'm going to call you when the date's over, you know, and that way, if they don't hear from you, then maybe they can reach out and check in on you and make sure you're okay.
Yeah. Here's an important one. Drive yourself or arrange your own transportation. I mean, these days with Lyft and Uber, I mean, there's no reason for you not to provide your own transportation, because if you need to use the phrase from MASH, if you need to bug out,
That's right.
you've got that safety net.
That's right. And that's really important. You want to keep your independence here. You don't want to rely solely on someone else that you've just met because you don't know them well enough.
Yeah.
You know, this is just how you keep yourself safe.
Yep.
Keep your phone charged. I cannot stress this enough. Plug it in the minute you get in the car.
Yes.
Keep it charged.
Yes, a car charger cord will cost you a good one, $20.
Yeah.
Big deal.
Yeah, they're not expensive and it's super easy. Just every time you get in the car, plug it in. And that way you've got the availability to reach out and call somebody in case, God forbid, something goes wrong.
Yeah. Most importantly, you know, everybody has that sixth sense, particularly women, but trust your instincts.
Yeah.
Trust your instincts.
If it feels wrong.
You're going out and you're meeting this person, you know, at such and such a restaurant or a coffee shop or whatever like that, and something doesn't feel right. Mm-hmm. Don't let that overriding, you know, thing, I'm lonely, I need companionship or
Right.
something like that. But, you know, you get those little hackles.
You have to trust your gut.
Trust it.
You got to trust your gut. 9 times out of 10, whatever it is you're feeling is correct.
Yeah.
You just need to go with that. Yeah. And don't feel obligated to stay if something doesn't feel right. Mm-mm. It is perfectly acceptable to say, you know what, I'm not feeling this date. I don't think we click. I'm going to go home.
Yeah, this isn't working.
Yeah,
so.
You don't have, you're not obligated. You don't owe anyone anything.
No, there's nothing rude about protecting yourself.
That's right.
At all.
That's right.
And here's the thing. If the person you're going out on that date with gets upset,
then your feelings were verified.
Yeah.
Because somebody that is genuinely a good person is going to say, oh, I'm really sorry. I wish this would have worked out differently, but I'm so glad I got to meet you, and just let it go.
Yeah. Now, sometimes you surrender to that feeling. You're lonely. Mm-hmm. You want to go out. But listen to the people who love you. All right? Sometimes family or close friends notice warning signs before we do.
Absolutely, they do. Absolutely,
you know, and
they do.
sometimes the people around us are. Let's face it, you're lonely. You know, you've lost a partner or you're divorced or something like that, and you're lonely and you want to get back in the dating pool. But sometimes the people around you, they know better.
Well, I think that we could go into it with blinders on. And I remember that when I first met my husband, I took him home to meet my mother. And sometimes your family can be mistaken. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to put that out there. They can be, because my mom was about Vic. But when I took him home, the way he looked scared her. He had long hair and he had an earring and he was a big buff guy and he was kind of burly. And when he went home, I said, so what do you think, Mom? And she said, well, the nicest thing I could say is that if I met him in a dark alley, I would hope he's on my side. And that was her first impression. It got better. It got better.
That's a good thing.
But the fact is, I still asked because there was room for doubt, and I wanted someone else's opinion. She knew me. I trusted her opinion.
How many years?
36.
Okay.
She was totally wrong. She was totally wrong. 36.
But if several people express concerns about someone you're dating, don't dismiss them immediately.
No, definitely take it into consideration. They could be wrong, like my mother was, but that didn't make me. I did listen to her. I did. And I told my husband what she said, because at the time we were dating, and I said, I think I need to get to know you better. And we worked on that. You know, and the more that I got to know him, the more I knew I was right and she was wrong. But we took our time.
That's good. That's good.
Here's the thing. You got to ask questions. That's the whole point. You have to communicate. You know, I asked the hard questions even. Mm-hmm. Why are you divorced? Tell me what happened with that and be honest with me, because none of us are perfect. And he asked the same of me. And I told him the truth. And it wasn't all my ex-husband's fault. It was my fault too. It just sometimes things don't work. And sometimes your personalities don't meld. Sometimes things just don't click. But be honest. Be honest.
Just remember, dating should be fun. You know, don't let stories about scams scare you away from meeting new people.
Right. Exactly. Most people are genuine. They're looking for some sort of friendship. They're looking for the same things you are, you know, the companionship, the kindness. Most people just want somebody to go and do things with. Someone that consistently they can go to a show with, or a concert, or a drive even.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people don't like to eat alone. Maybe it's just as simple as going out for lunch or dinner. So...
And let things develop.
Yeah, we don't want you to be suspicious of everybody.
No, the goal is to be helpful and wise.
Right.
You know, and that's why we're doing this show.
Exactly.
You know, but just take it easy. Let things develop. You know, we've given you some red flags there. Love doesn't develop overnight.
It doesn't.
Trust doesn't develop overnight.
No, it doesn't.
You know.
And honestly, if you look at this, you know, a lot of the best romances start because you become friends first.
Yeah.
So if you can find those basic things that you have in common, the things you enjoy doing together, then those connections can blossom and certainly evolve and grow.
Yeah.
And we want that for everybody. You know, Tom and I are happily married to our spouses, and we'd like to see everybody living like that.
Absolutely.
It's a wonderful thing. Yeah. But it's still... You needed to know about the bad things as well as the good.
Oh, yeah. There's always good. There's always good. But as we wrap up today, just remember 3 things about dating, particularly, you know, when you've lost a spouse or you're divorced and you're of a certain age.
Yes. Yes.
Take your time.
Yes. There are no rules here. There's no rules that say that if you've dated somebody for a year that you have to get married, that you have to move in together. The rules are yours. They're yours and your friends, you know, your companions. Trust your instincts, please. You know, if your gut is telling you something, please listen. Please listen. It is so important. For your own safety, and then for also the safety of the person that you're hanging out with.
Yeah. Yep. And of course, never send money to someone you don't truly know.
No.
You know, that's the way to protect yourself from those scams.
Yeah, that's a bad plan. Love does not have an age limit. We've said it before. We're going to continue to say it. You're never too old to love someone. The heart doesn't know how old you are. The heart just wants what it wants, right? And the opportunity to build meaningful relationships lasts our entire life. You're never too old to do that.
Nope.
Never. Never.
Nope.
Thank you for joining us today. I hope you got something out of this program. We would love it if you'd like, subscribe, follow on our various social media inputs. We've got Spotify, we've got Facebook, and we've got YouTube, all under Agewell, Athens County.
Yes, and Spotify works.
Yay! Yay!
It took a while.
We're so happy.
It took a while. So I've got the drawer open here.
Okay.
This is our thought for the day.
Okay, what do we got?
It's from Jimmy Buffett.
Okay.
One of my favorites. I'm growing older, but not up.
Yes, I love it. Till next time, let's age well together.
Listening to Age Well Athens County. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow, share it with a friend, and join us next time. Until then, let's all age well together.